Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, we are from group 3, consists of me, Alvan Fazlurrahman and Nur Fadhillatus Sa'adah. We are from English Department 6C. Right now we want to present the material about code switching and code mixing and sociolinguistics. There are 7 contents from this topic. First, participants, solidarity and status. Second, topic. Third, switching affecting functions. Fourth, metaphorical switching. Fifth, lexical borrowing. Sixth, linguistic constraints. And seventh, attitudes to code switching. Let's start from the first content about participant, solidarity, and status. Participant, solidarity, and status. What is this? People sometimes switch code within domain or social situations, such as the arrival of a new person. It is easy to explain the switch. For example, Lami is Korean, although the rest of the meeting will be conducted in English. Herin switches to Korean to greet her. The Korean greeting is an expression of solidarity. So, a code switch may be related to a particular participant or addressee. Such switches are often very short and they are made primarily for social reasons to signal and actively construct the speaker's ethnic identity and solidarity with the addressee. Now, what is topic? People may switch code within a speech event to discuss a particular topic. Bilinguals often find it easier to discuss particular topics in one code rather than another. Chinese students from Guangzhou who are flatting together in an English-speaking country tend to use Cantonese with each other, except to discuss their studies when they switch to English. It is partly because they have learned the vocabulary of economics or linguistics or basics in English. So they do not always know the words for capital formation or morpheme or electron in Cantonese, but it goes further than simply borrowing words from English. Next is, for example, they often switch to English for considerable stretches of speech. The technical topics are firmly associated with a particular code, and the topic itself can trigger a switch to the appropriate code. The switching involves just the words that the speaker is claiming the quoted person said. So the switch acts like a set of quotation marks. The speaker gives the impression, which may or may not be accurate, that these are the exact words the speaker used. Switching affecting function. In the 20th century, the use of Jamaican Creole or Patois alongside standard English by those who belong to the African Caribbean or West Indian black communities in Britain followed similar patterns to those described above for a range of multilingual and bilingual communities. At school, for instance, black British children use patois to their friends and standard English to standard English to their teacher.
Yeah, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello everyone. I'm Nur Fadhillatus Sa'adah and this is my part which I will tell about the metaphorical switching and the others. Well, the first topic that I will tell you is about metaphorical switching. Then, as we know that switching in code in sociolinguistics, it is the code that some people are doing it when they are talking with other people and then they change their languages into other languages. Okay, so metaphorical switching is an important distinction. Distinction is made from situational switching. Well, the situational switching here means that the thing or the accident that happen in your social life when you are doing your conversation with around you, then because of the situational itself, you may to change your language into other languages, from one language to other languages. So for example, like when you are getting your dinner with your family, and then you expect that you are going to talk about your family only in your dinner time with your family, but in the reality, it can be happen also that your father or your mother can invite you to talk about other aspects, as like work or your school, your duties, or something like that. So because of that situational, so you may change your languages to be from the informal language to formal language, and from one language to other languages. So for example, like in your family time dinner, your father asking you about your duty in English, so that because of that is about English lesson in duty, so that you may directly change your language from bahasa Indonesia to English, because the situational switching you change yourself to change your language from bahasa to English. So that is made from the situational switching, which is the typical of metaphorical switching itself. Well, where alternation between varieties redefines a situation, so that being changed in governing norms. Okay, so we are going to move to other topics. This is about the lexical borrowing. So the lexical borrowing is actually totally different with the switching itself, because the lexical borrowing typically is the adaptation of individual words or even large sets of vocabulary items from another language or dialect. So that the switching is the process that some people are changing their language because of some factors, while the lexical borrowing, it is happening in some word or some dialect that usually they are using it unconsciously. So for example, like when in bahasa Indonesia, sometimes we usually say that saya tidak membawa handphone. We didn't realize that actually handphone is an English, so that unconsciously we didn't realize that we are doing or we borrow the word from the language, just one word, so that calls us like lexical borrowing, where is adaptation of individual words itself. So it can also include roots and affixes, sounds or collocations, and also grammatical process. So it has profound implications for various aspects of applied linguistics, including sociolinguistics and foreign language learning. Okay, so we are going to move to linguistics constraints, where there are very general rules for switching which apply to all switching behavior, regardless of the cause of variables involved. So in linguistic contrast, it relates to the intersentential switching, which intersentential switching self is the situation that you are changing your languages in an utterance, but you just use one language in the first clause or in the first sentences, that the next after the first language that you use in the first you're speaking, you are changing to other languages. For example, like when you are speaking with your friends in bahasa, for the first speaking that you are talking with your friends, like halo apa kabar, nama saya blah 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 blah, and then you are continuing your speaking or your conversation with other languages. But the linguistic constraints with occur in the sentence intersentential switching is happening in the utterance or just the utterance. Okay, so the next is about the attitudes to code switching. So as we know that when we are doing the code switching, it has the attitudes that we need to know, because the attitudes to minority language are very important in determining not only its use in a code switching style, but also its very chance of survival. So that actually there are several benefits or the function of doing code switching itself. For example, like it can help some people to understand each other. For example, if in bilingual school, if there is the Japanese in the class, while bilingual school is from Indonesia and the teacher couldn't speak only in Indonesia, so that the teacher need to do code switch like in Indonesia and in English, because probably the foreigner students inside of the class doesn't understand at all about the Bahasa Indonesia, so that the school itself has a target and the function to do the bilingual languages itself. So the focus has moved from macro level sociolinguistics patterns and norms observable in multilingual and bilingual context itself. Well, those are from my explanation. Thank you so much for watching the video, and see you again.